Hello, and today we'll do a real talk on ERP implementation and how we can go beyond the chaos that is created. Hi, I'm Nishad, and I want to speak to the hearts and minds of everyone who makes a business run. Whether you sit in the boardroom, coordinate from the control room, or work tirelessly on the shop floor, today I want to talk about something you may not have time to think about: the invisible weight of disconnection between departments, data, and decisions. This episode is one for those tired of chaos and ready for a change. Let's start with what you're seeing every day but maybe haven't had time to fix. Well, I met a purchase manager last month who said I spend half my day chasing approvals and the other half apologizing to vendors for delays. Well, that's not a system, that's definitely stress. In fact, one of the factory floor supervisors said, "We start production and then realize the raw materials is short. Again, we adjust, we hustle. But how long can we run like this?" And in a similar way, one of the operators told me, "Sometimes we don't even know the maintenance schedule. We just wait till the machine stops." Well, this is the reality in too many businesses. Every department trying to do their best, but when no shared visibility. Manual entries, WhatsApp groups, Excel sheets, that's only one person understands. No wonder the stress flows faster than the workflow. So now let's talk about the pain points, not in theory, but in real human terms. So for the top level leaders, basically you are investing in infrastructure, manpower, and yet you feel like the growth is stalling. You ask for a monthly stock report and it's inaccurate. Whether you ask for a quality audit, there is no paper trail. You are told things are under control, but you don't see it. In the same way, for example, if we talk about the middle management within a particular company, they're basically juggling 50 or more tasks, trying to meet deadlines with half the clarity. You know your team is overworked, but you don't have the numbers to justify the hirings. You're managing chaos instead of performance. And regarding the ground level heroes that are there, they work the hardest and yet their voices are least heard. Operators, stock keepers, quality check inspectors, they know what's going on wrong, but no one asks, and even if they speak, the system has no space to capture it. This definitely is not a people problem, it's a system gap. So basically, let me bring in how things can be done right. So, what's the alternative? It's not more manpower, it's not a bigger warehouse. Basically, it's just the alignment through a smart standard ERP implementation. Now, let's see how it looks like when you're implementing a basically standard ERP system within your company. For example, if we talk about purchase, every request gets digitized, approvals are automated, vendors get notified, no more lost emails or missed follow ups are there. In case of the inventory, real time stock updates are there, storekeepers use barcode scanners, not guesswork, material shortages get flagged before it halts the production. Then comes the manufacturing. In manufacturing, planning is the system driven. Each work order is visible across the floor, and therefore there is no more shouting across departments. Similarly, the quality control is there that helps each batch get recorded. Issues are logged, analyzed, and resolved with proof. And lastly comes the maintenance. So the machines have preventive schedules. Technicians get alerts. No more breakdowns in the middle of a rush order. To give you an example, one of my clients, a mid-sized automotive parts company, went from 8 hours daily chaos to a 15-minute morning dashboard meeting where everyone knew what needed to be done. The factory head has spoken with me and said that now I manage operations, not disasters. And well, that's the power of the ERP when it's done right. But let's see what happens here when you're not doing the act in a proper way. For example, a company I visited last year was doing well on paper, but their plant manager quit. Why? He was tired of getting blamed for production delays he couldn't control. The raw materials never arrived on time, and the quality complaints were increasing. The CEO admitted basically that they outgrown their manual systems but kept making do. Eventually, the lost basically a major client due to the late deliveries. That's not just revenue loss, that's reputation burned. Delaying implementation doesn't just keep you stuck, it pushes you away your best people and your most loyal customers. Now, let's talk about when it works. So, for example, a steel fabricator I worked with recently went live with the standard ERP implementation. Within 3 months, wastage basically dropped by 22%, maintenance calls dropped by half, and their quality team caught defects before dispatch instead of after. The biggest shift, their people felt less burdened and more empowered. The CEO told me, finally feel like I'm not running blind. I can breathe. And a machine operator who had never used a computer before said, now I know what to do and when I feel important. That's the real win. When system works, people thrive. Now, giving some final words to this particular podcast today. So, basically, ERP would not be a luxury, it would be your foundation. Not just for scale, but for sanity. It's about creating a business that doesn't rely on superhumans doing overtime, but smart systems supporting good people. If you're listening to this and thinking this sounds like us, then maybe it's time to stop firefighting and start building. Let's talk, let's plan, let's fix this. Not with patchwork, but with a purpose driven ERP implementation that respects each and every level of your business. Until next time, this is Nishad reminding you, in business, chaos is a choice, so is clarity.